Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sir. My name is Anizati Lady Ismail. My metric number is 046193. So today I would like to present from the test 2 question 1 about the obligation and challenges of the government to protect the rights of the displaced person. According to Kofi Annan, which is the UN Secretary General, internal displacement is the great tragedy of our times. The internally displaced people are among the most vulnerable of the human family. So I would like to first explain about the introduction. Second is the obligation and challenges. Third is the conclusion. So what is IDPs? IDPs, internally displaced person, is a people or a group of people who have forcibly leave their habitually residence and left all their belongings due to war against humanity or natural disaster or widespread violence that threaten their life but still not crossing their country's border, which is mean they are moving from their home that they usually live but still inside the country. Thus, the obligation of IDPs fall under the jurisdiction of the government itself. The international body cannot intervene to help the IDPs as it will threaten the government's sovereignty. So first, there are about a few rights that I will present, which is first humanitarian assistance, second freedom of movement, third is the protection of family matters of the IDPs, and fourth the food and sufficient drinking water that need to be gained by the IDPs. So for the humanitarian assistance, if the armed conflict happens, the humanitarian assistance usually cannot reach to the affected area. Means that the civilian there or the IDPs there cannot receive the humanitarian assistance. Displacement will lead to lack of basic needs about the civilians. They cannot receive the basic needs that they usually receive. The IDP hardly being able to access basic economic and social rights, especially in terms of standard living, good physical and mental health. The the government should negotiate with the conflict parties to not to only restrict on military need uh, and shall protect the humanitarian staff to give the humanitarian assistance with the IDPs. Um, even when the government being prevented by the other parties of the armed conflict to do so to help the IDPs. Second is the freedom of movement according to Principle 14, 15, 12, and 28 Clause 1 of the guiding principles stating about the freedom of movement that acquired by the IDPs. Um, the IDPs shall not be restricted their movement. The responsibility of state are to promote the voluntary return of the IDPs to their original place of residence and helping IDP to move from one place to another in safety. The IDP should be able to live wherever they want to live, and once they are not facing danger, they can come back to their habitual place. Um, but the obstacle that are being faced by the government is to assist in resettlement of the IDPs. Sometimes the the armed conflict or the natural disaster cannot be settled, so they need to find another place for the IDP to stay. Um, the third the third obligation of the government is to protect the family matter of the IDP. According to Principle 16 and 17 of Guiding Principles, stated the right about the right of IDPs to have protection on family matters. They need to protect the right of family of the IDP as preserving family unity, pursue family reunification, as family is the basic element of a society, protect the life of innocent children and their education needs. That was the very basic human rights that should be gained by every human being. Unfortunately, during the displacement, the family members can be easily isolated. So it is hard for the government to unite them back as they are separated widely and maybe some communication systems are broken and they cannot reach to the other family to reunite them back. The last one obligation of the government with the IDP is to ensure the food and sufficient drinking water received by the IDP. According to Principle 18, Clause 2 of the Guiding Principles, is meant to ensure that IDPs have access at all times to adequate food, and Article 18, Clause 2, Clause A is to for the IDP to access sufficient clean drinking water. Food during the IDP, the government should guarantee the food availability and food supply towards the IDP and the sufficient drinking water. Unfortunately, some situation during the IDPs will lead to them they go into the thick forest that may be hard for the government to reach them to supply the food and water. Thus, in conclusion, there are other human rights that can be accessed by the IDPs too. The government shall not depriving the rights of the IDPs, as the IDP basically is their citizen, but placing at not their habitual residence. The government should try their best to fulfill their obligation in protecting their people and not let their sovereignty be scratched. The government must take all measures to ensure that the IDPs do not feel left behind and enjoy their right in their own country despite having to move from their place of origin. That's all from me. Thank you.